The previous point you should go through the resource planning, and I should go through this point, and I can show you the next point. We should go through the land resource. See, the resource planning, it is the planning of the resource. It is a complex process. How the resource planning should be done? It should be mapping, surveying, and inventory, as well as identifications the resource across the region of the country, because resource should not be divided. It is all the parts at equal parts in the words. It should be in some of the parts, different parts in different resource should be available. This involving the surveying, mapping, and quantity of the qualitative and quantitative estimation of the measurement of the resources. See, this involving through the resource through the mapping and surveying and inventions. Then we should know the resource, which resource should be available in those parts of the areas. See, the estimation of the resource and measurement of the resources. The involving the planning structure endowed with the appropriate technology, because resource identification for the mapping through the which involving the planning structure, and we need for appropriate technology. Then we can identify which resource should be available. Uh, Appropriate technology skill, institutional setup, and implementing resource in development plans. See, we can see appropriate technology, then we can invention of resources, how much resources are available, which resource is available, which minerals is available. Then we should know. This is a matching of resource development plan with overall national development of the plans, because overall national development through the resources we need for the resource in different technology, different industries. We need for different minerals, and that's why we can utilize the resources through the different mapping, surveying, and inventory of the different appropriate technology and skill and institutional setup. See, next we should go through the land resource. Why we call it the land resource? Land is the most important domains of the earth. It is called as the lithosphere, because land is the natural resource. It uttermost an importance, because millions of the human beings, plants, animals, microorganisms, they are living only on the land, and that's why land is the natural resource is the utmost important. It will support the natural vegetations, wildlife, human life, economical activities, transportation, and communication system. It will support the natural vegetation. Natural vegetation is nothing but the vegetation will grow naturally without the effort of any human acts. That's called as the natural vegetation. Wildlife, the huge wild animals that are living on the on this land, because they need for the natural vegetation. Where there is a vegetation, where there is a plants, then the human but the wildlife should be live, and that's why the natural vegetation is most important. And human life is very important. The human beings, approximately 600 millions of the people are living on this earth, and that's why we need for the land. The economical activities and non-economical activities, both activities are belong to the only land, and that activities is and transportation system also. We can see the roadways, railways, transportation, in different transportation on communication system on these lands, and that's why land is the most and utmost important on this land resource. Land is a present is limited zero size, so we must use them effectively. We can use the land properly. Proper utilization of land is most important. See, the land resource in India, approximately about 43% of the land area is plain, and which provide facility for the agriculture industries. 43% of the land area is plain land, and that plain land is very utilized for the agriculture. The agriculture is the backbone of the Indian economy. Approximately, you can go to 63% people are dependent upon the agriculture, and that's why agriculture and industries, because so many industries should be dependent upon the agriculture, and that's why I called as the agro-based industries. See, about 30% of the land, total surface of the area, country, in mountains, hills, and that's we belong to the 30% of the lands. And then perennial flows. Perennial is nothing but the river will flow throughout the years in maybe season, all the seasons. It may be winter, summer, and rainy season, and that's why called as perennial flows. Some rivers which provide a facility, tourism, ecological aspect. Tourism, the approximately the tourism is very important. The maximum people will come to a country and visit in particular some tourist spots, and that's why ecological aspects, and that's why the 30% of the total surface area, country, mountain, perennial flow, and rivers provide a facility tourism and ecological aspect. And about 27% of the area of the country, plateau regions, and plateau region is most important because huge fossil fuel and forest and minerals will get from the only plateau regions, and that's why you can see the some of the plateaus region that fossils and rich resources should be available. See, land use pattern in India. The land use in determined by the physical factors such as topography, climatical, and soil types. Topography is we can see the physical features, some of the topographical areas, and that's why is the physical factors, climatical and different climatical. All the people are, we can see the different place in different climate, different temperatures and soil types. Soil is not a different types of soil we can see. It may be red soil, alluvial soil, laterite soil, and we can see the mountain soil. In different types of soil we can see on the soil types. And human factors such as population density, population this should be depend upon the availability of the land, availability of the soils, and huge water facilities. The huge population we can see, we can take the example of Deccan Plateau. We can see the example of plain land should be available in the northern plains of India, approximately 7 lakh square kilometer they covered with the plain lands, and that's a huge population are living in those places. And technological capability and cultural and traditionals. This is the land use pattern in India. Land use pattern in India. See the land use pattern in India, the area because of the land use reporting the most of the northeastern states except Assam has been not been. Also we can see the Jammu and Kashmir occupied by Pakistan and China have also not been surveyed. The land degradation and conservation measures. See the human activities such as the, we can go through the land degradation and conservation measures. The land degradation is nothing but damaging of the lands, because we can utilize the land huge things. For example, you take the land degradation. How the land degradation? We're using more water, we can using the more chemical and fertilizer, and that's why you can see the land degradation. How to conservation measures? Conservation means we can take the different steps. We can take the shelter belt, terrace farming, counter plugging. In different steps, we can conservation of the land, conservation of the soil. It is very important. Human activities such as the deforestation. Deforestation is nothing but the huge people are cutting down the trees, and that's why we call it the deforestation. Approximately we require the forest approximately 33 percentage, but only 21.5 percentage of forest should be available in our country. Overgrazing of the overgrazing of the cattle and animals, and that's why that land it become the wetlands. See, next we should go through the mining. Mining you can go through the in different process of the mining. We can go through the open cast mining, drilling, as well as boring in different mining process we can see, and quarrying. The contribution of the land degradations, the measure to control the land degradations, that is very important. Afforestation, we can planting the more trees, that is very important. Planting of the shelter beds, we can plant the more trees, plant of the shelter beds, and count control on the overgrazing, because we should not be overgraze the cattle, and stabilization of the sand dunes and growing of the thorny bushes. We can plant the more bushes of the thorny bushes, and that should be, we should control the land degradation. So planting the shelter bed is very important. We can go to the shelter beds in the ocean, in the some parts of the sea beach. We can plant the more trees. Understand, that is very important. And proper management of the wastelands and control the mining activities. It is very important. Proper management of the wasteland. Wasteland we can construction of the building, construction of the houses, construction of the factories, industries. That is very important. That is the wasteland we can control the mining activities. Next, we should go to the soil as a resource. Soil is the most important and renewable natural resources. Why soil is a resource? Soil is the most important resource. Nowadays, we can see soil is how much different types of soil we can grow the different types of crops in our country. It is the medium of plant growth, as well as support the different types of living organism on the earth, and that's why we need soil is the most important. Uh, in it is the indispensable part of human beings as well as animals, and that's why the soil is the most important. So classification of the soils. The soil should be the factor responsible for the soil formations. The different formation of the soil, we can go through the different physical as well different factors. For example, that is called as a soil formation. They need weathering conditions, temperature, rainfall, physiosphere, and that all we can see the soil formation, color, thickness, texture, age, chemical and physical properties. See, this is soil in India. It can be classified in different types. Just to go through the soil types, that is called as alluvial soil. First, when should go alluvial soil, the entire northern plains are made for the alluvial deposits. The northern plains is the perennial flow in the northern plains of the India. That should be Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Indus, and that will flow throughout the years. It may be all the seasons. Also, it's found in the eastern coastal plains also. See, this is the classification of soil. It is particular in the deltaic regions. The Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri rivers will flow. We can see the different types of soil. The fertile soil is the most important part of the fit for the agriculture, and it is a productive part of our country. Approximately northern plains of India, we can see 7 lakh square kilometer area should be covered with the northern plains of India. That is the alluvial soil. It is a productive part of the country. Region of the alluvial soil is intensively cultivated and densely populated areas. Densely populated areas, you can take the example Maharashtra. You can take the example of UP and Bihar. This is the northern plains of India, and rich in potash and phosphoric acid and lime are also ideal growth for the sugarcane, paddy, wheat, and cereals and pulses in these crops. See, next we should go to the black soil. The black in color is called as a regal soil because the regal soil is the most important soil, and regal soil is called the black soil. It is good for cultivation of the cottons. See, the ideal for the growing of the cotton is also further known as the black cotton soil. The found in the plateau region of Maharashtra, we can see Saurashtra, we can see as well as Malwa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, also Godavari and Krishna valleys, and some parts of Gujarat. We can see the black soil, made up of the extremely fine and clay for the material. The well known in their capacity of the hold the moistures. See, this is the black soil. Then the rich calcium carbonate and as well as magnesium and potash and lime. You can see the black soil. See, next soil we should go through the red and yellow soil. This found in the area of the low rainfall in the eastern and southern parts of the Deccan plateaus. It is also found in the parts of Odisha, Chhattisgarh. It is the red and yellow soil. It is south of Saurashtra as well as southern middle of the Ganga plains and along with the predominant zone of the western Ghats. They develop the reddish colors due to the diffusion of iron and crystallines and metamorphic rocks. What do you mean by metamorphic rocks? The rock which is igneous and sedimentary rocks, both rocks should be together and they'll change their color, texture, and composition. The new rock will form that is called as a metamorphic rocks. What do you mean by laterite soil? The laterite soil will develop the area which the high temperature and heavy rainfall. For example, you take the example high temperature and heavy rainfall. That is called as a laterite soil. For example, you take the Assam. You take the example of in Kerala. This is the develop the area with the high temperature and heavy rainfall. In found Karnataka, some parts of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, the hilly areas. We can see the Madhya Pradesh. It is called Odisha and Assam. Also, we can see this is laterite soil. So suitable for the cultivation of adequate dense in the manner of the fertilizer. They can utilize the more fertilizer. They can grow the different types of crops, low humus and content because this is called as the laterite soil. The laterite soil it develop the like bacteria get destroyed and high temperatures. It is the laterite soil. We can see the Kerala, Karnataka as there some of the coffee we can see and some of the tea also we can see. This is the decomposition of bacteria and get destroyed for the high temperatures. Arid soil. Arid soil is found in the western parts of Rajasthan. Also proper irrigation, these soils became cultivable because it doesn't have irrigation. There's less rainfall, less water. That's why you can see the arid soil. And this is the need for the more waters and lack of humus content because humus content because should not be humus content because we can see the dead plants and animals and decay things should not be decomposed because they need for the more waters and that's why the lack of humus content and moisture in the climate and high temperatures and evaporation factors. The salt content is very high and common often from the evaporating the water. See, next we should go to forest soil. It is a forest soil found in the hilly and mountainous areas where there is sufficient rain and forests are available. The feature differ based on the location, loamy and silty in the valley in the course of the gained and upper slopes. The silt is the lower parts of the valleys, particularly in the terrace and alluvial fans of the fertile. Because first we can see the terrace farming. We can see the some of the forests, some of the plants. We can see this is called the forest soil. The soil erosion and soil conservation. See, available features are different based on the location, loamy and silty, the valley side, as well as course of the grain and upper slope of the silt and lower parts of the valleys, particularly on the river trace and alluvial fans of the fertile. Soil erosion and soil conservation. In natural ways, the soil erosion, the wind, as well as glaciers and the water lead to the soil erosions. Because of the wind, the flowing of the topsoil should goes on decreasing. The human activity, deforestation, overgrazing, construction, the mining, the human activity is involving in the soil and that's why decreasing of the soil quality. For example, overusing of the overgrazing, construction, mining, contributing the soil erosion, or chemical overusing of the water, chemical fertilizers. That's why it is a human activity involving. The measure of the control the soil erosion, strip cropping. Strip cropping is very important. Rotation of the crops, planting of the shelter belts of the trees, hilly areas using the counter plugging is very important. It is not parallel. Counter plugging is very important and terrace farming. That's why they are doing the terrace farming in the hill area, just like rice and different crops and terrace farming.